My parents said, at dinner you work while your sister enjoys. Don't like it? Leave. So I said okay. My name is Nicole Hopper, 31, commercial architect in Portland, Oregon. Last Thanksgiving, I walked into my parents' dining room after a 70-hour week, 3 corporate tower proposals on my desk, and our family hardware store hemorrhaging money. Dad didn't even glance up from carving the turkey. You missed the inventory reconciliation call yesterday, he said flatly. Then my sister Amber breezed in, practically glowing from a $3,000 spa retreat in Napa Valley, courtesy of Mom and Dad's credit card. Dad's whole face lit up. How's my little wellness queen doing? I couldn't stop myself. So I work myself to death while she gets pampered. Why exactly is that fair? Dad locked eyes with me, his expression turning cold as stone. Your job is to work while your sister enjoys life. Simple as that. If you don't like it, there's the door. I pushed my chair back, the legs scraping against their hardwood floor like nails on a chalkboard. Fine. I'll leave, and you can start paying your own bills for once. Simple as that. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment with your city and state. Let me know where this story hits you. The real storm started long before that table. Growing up in Portland's Pearl District, the favoritism was baked in before I even understood what the word meant. Our bedrooms told the same story. The house sat above the main store location, a renovated warehouse with exposed brick and steel beams. When we outgrew sharing a room, Dad converted the old storage closet into my space. Bare bulb, concrete floor, metal shelves lined with forgotten inventory. Amber claimed the upstairs loft with massive windows overlooking the Willamette River. Mom installed a custom drafting desk, professional lighting, and a lock to protect her creative space. I got a futon and milk crates for furniture. Weekends meant more hours behind the register. At 14, I started running the Saturday shift alone, counting cash, processing returns, answering endless questions about cordless versus corded tools. Every dollar in tips went straight into a jar labeled college fund. Dad praised my reliability in front of customers, then handed Amber a $100 bill for new art supplies. She spent it on fancy gel pens that dried out within a week. The pattern hardened like setting concrete. I organized the annual clearance sale, designed window displays that doubled foot traffic, and taught myself their outdated inventory software on a second-hand Dell laptop. Amber floated through occasionally, rearranging a shelf for aesthetic purposes, then disappearing to sketch at Pioneer Square. Relatives noticed. Aunt Veronica once muttered, "That girl's got champagne taste on everyone else's budget." Mom shut her down immediately. By high school, the store's back office became my second home. I redesigned the entire floor layout to maximize product placement, negotiated bulk discounts with suppliers, and created a customer loyalty program that boosted repeat business by 30%. Dad called it good practice. Meanwhile, Amber's report cards arrived with C's in math, but her charcoal portraits won blue ribbons at the Oregon State Fair. Each award meant another family outing, food carts, bowling, whatever she wanted. I internalized the message early. My value came from what I produced. Hers came from what she dreamed. The jar grew heavier, but so did the weight on my shoulders. High school widened the divide in ways I couldn't ignore anymore. I juggled 2 part-time jobs around a full course load to fund my dream of studying architecture at Cornell. Afternoons meant catering private events in the West Hills after last period, balancing trays of hors d'oeuvres while reviewing blueprints on my phone during breaks. Evenings brought delivery runs for the store 3 nights a week, navigating Portland's narrow streets with boxes of paint cans and lumber rattling in the trunk. Every dollar earned went toward application fees, portfolio prints, and the growing stack of acceptance letters I hoped would change everything. Amber, meanwhile, coasted through classes with minimal effort. Her junior year, Mom and Dad announced a surprise, a full year studying painting in Paris, France. All expenses covered, plus a cherry red Vespa for navigating the cobblestone streets. They framed it as essential for her artistic development. I calculated the cost in my head, tuition, housing, flights, scooter insurance, and felt the numbers burn. My own Cornell deposit required another summer of double shifts. Then came the gallery disaster. Amber returned from Europe, buzzing with ideas for a permanent exhibition space downtown. Dad saw potential where I saw catastrophe. They took out a second mortgage on the house to secure a 12-month lease on a prime Pearl District location, complete with custom lighting and imported display systems. Opening night drew crowds sipping Pinot Noir and praising Amber's abstract oils. Sales trickled in at first, then stopped completely. Suppliers demanded payment for frames and installations. After 12 months, the doors closed with $28,000 in losses. Dad shrugged it off as an investment in experience. I discovered the mortgage paperwork while organizing files for tax season. Their monthly payment had jumped $950. Mom explained they needed the equity to give Amber a real chance. My student loans loomed at $35,000, interest accruing faster than I could pay. Still, I started wiring $2,000 home each month for my freelance architecture work, helping cover the increased mortgage while drowning in my own debt. College acceptances arrived during senior year. Cornell offered a partial scholarship, but the gap remained massive. I worked graduation weekend drafting plans for a client's home renovation instead of attending my own ceremony. Dad sent a text, "Proud of you for being responsible." Amber posted photos from a post-graduation trip to Bali, captioned with paint palette emojis. At Cornell, I lived in the smallest dorm room available, drafting until dawn and interning at local firms for credit. Amber enrolled in Portland Community College back home, dropping most classes after the withdrawal deadline. Mom called it exploring her options. The store's profits declined as Home Depot and Lowe's undercut their prices, but Dad kept funneling money into Amber's latest venture, a line of hand-painted silk scarves that never made it past prototypes. My senior thesis earned top honors, a sustainable mixed-use development using reclaimed industrial materials. Professors connected me with firms in Seattle and San Francisco. I graduated summa cum laude with $52,000 in total debt and a job offer starting at $58,000 annually. Amber celebrated my commencement by announcing her engagement to a photographer she'd met at a workshop. Mom immediately offered to host the engagement party at the store after hours. The monthly transfers continued. I rationalized it as investing in family stability, even as my own savings account stayed empty. Dad's emails grew shorter, always ending with updates on Amber's wedding plans. I designed the entire invitation suite for free, sourcing cardstock from overstock suppliers I knew. The ceremony cost $18,000, charged to the business account I helped balance. Fast forward to last Thanksgiving, and the resentment had calcified into something explosive. I'd pulled an all-nighter redesigning the store's showroom for the holiday rush, new modular displays for premium tool sets, LED accent lighting for their Milwaukee and DeWalt sections, and a traffic flow that could handle Black Friday crowds without bottlenecking the registers. On top of that, I'd finalized 3 corporate tower renderings for a client in Seattle, lobby concepts blending Pacific Northwest timber with industrial minimalism. Each revision sent at 3 a.m. By the time I showered and drove to my parents' house, exhaustion sat heavy behind my eyes, but the roasted turkey smelled incredible. Dad met me at the door carrying a platter of deviled eggs. "You're late. The new DeWalt shipment came yesterday. Still no inventory update." His tone carried the same edge it always did, work before family. I bit back a response and headed to the dining room where Mom arranged cranberry sauce in crystal bowls. Amber arrived fashionably late, sweeping through the kitchen in a camel-colored coat that screamed designer labels. She dropped a glossy shopping bag on the granite counter and pulled out a Louis Vuitton Neverfull bag in pristine monogram canvas. "Look what Mom and Dad surprised me with after my Napa spa weekend," she announced, holding it up like a trophy. The spa retreat had cost $3,000, massages, facials, yoga overlooking vineyards, all charged to the family credit card as an early birthday treat. Mom beamed. "Your sister needed a proper reward after closing that big Instagram collaboration." Amber's collaboration was a sponsored post for a local boutique candle company that barely covered her gas money. I set down the green bean casserole and felt the words rise before I could stop them. "Let me get this straight," I said, voice steady despite the pulse hammering in my temples. I redesigned the entire showroom, managed supplier delays, and closed 6-figure corporate contracts while Amber gets a luxury handbag and a spa retreat for posting pictures. Dad set his carving knife down with deliberate force. "Your job is to work while your sister enjoys life. Simple as that. If you don't like it, there's the door." The room went still. Mom's hand froze halfway to the gravy boat. Amber smirked behind her wine glass. Something inside me snapped clean. Does it go that way? I replied, pushing my chair back with a scrape that echoed off the walls. I'm taking it. I grabbed my keys from the hook by the refrigerator, the same hook where Amber's childhood artwork still hung, laminated and faded. Mom's voice cracked behind me. Nicole, honey, sit down. We're grateful for everything really. I turned to face her. Tears welled in her eyes, but they felt performative, the same ones she used when Amber missed curfew or maxed out a credit card. Amber rolled her eyes and muttered something about drama queens. Dad stood, face reddening. After everything we've done for you, his words chased me down the hallway, but I was already at the front door, boots crunching over fallen pine needles from the porch wreath. The cold November air hit my face as I slid into my Subaru, engine turning over with a roar that drowned out Mom's final plea. I drove the 25 minutes to Carson's apartment in the Alberta Arts District, hands gripping the wheel until my knuckles whitened. Carson, my boyfriend of 2 years, opened the door in joggers and a concerned expression. He didn't ask questions, just pulled me inside, handed me a mug of chamomile tea, and let the silence settle until I was ready to speak. The turkey went cold on their table. I didn't look back. 2 days later, the fallout began in earnest. I woke to an email from the bank's loan servicing department, a formal notice of intent to foreclose if past due mortgage payments weren't brought current within 30 days. The attached PDF detailed 3 missed installments totaling over $6,000, plus late fees. Dad had never mentioned falling behind, but the second mortgage from Amber's failed gallery had stretched their budget to the breaking point. I forwarded the notice to my personal folder without replying, then revoked my access to the store's accounting software. By the end of the first week, the store lost its annual contract with Portland Public Schools' vocational program. The district procurement officer called me directly, since I'd always handled invoicing, explaining that without updated purchase orders and proof of inventory compliance, they couldn't renew for the spring semester. The deal was worth $15,000 in bulk toolkits and safety equipment. Dad left a voicemail blaming supply chain issues, but the real problem was the stack of unpaid vendor bills piling up on his desk. Amber's Instagram influencer career dried up almost overnight. Her last sponsored post for a boutique skincare brand garnered fewer than 400 likes, and the company pulled out of a planned collaboration series. With no income and rent due on her Pearl District loft, she packed designer suitcases into her leased BMW and moved back into the basement. Mom texted a photo of Amber's old twin bed made up with fresh linens, captioned with a heart emoji. I left it on read. The phone calls started that same afternoon and didn't stop for weeks. 53 in total, according to my call log. Dad's first voicemail came at 8:45 in the morning. You think walking out fixes anything? Get back here and straighten the books before we lose everything. His voice rose with each sentence, ending with a slammed receiver. Mom followed an hour later, her message softer but laced with manipulation. My sciatic nerve is flaring up again. Can't lift the heavy shipment boxes without you. Please call. Amber waited until evening. Hey sis, things are tight, but I have this amazing idea for a paint and sip pop-up series. Need $12,000 to secure the venue and supplies. You're brilliant with numbers, wire it over and I'll pay you back with interest once it takes off. I deleted the voice note and temporarily added her number to my block list. Carson watched the notifications pile up while we cooked pasta in his kitchen. He suggested turning off my phone completely, but I kept it on vibrate, just enough to feel each buzz against my thigh like a persistent migraine. Dad escalated to texts, screenshots of overdue utility bills, a photo of the empty cash register drawer, a forwarded email from their landlord about late rent on the commercial space. Mom sent links to articles about adult children abandoning elderly parents, conveniently ignoring that she was only 58. Amber tried Carson's phone next, leaving a breezy message about family investors, and how I was totally overreacting to one bad dinner. 3 weeks in, the store's main supplier, a regional distributor based in Seattle, placed them on credit hold. No more shipments of Milwaukee, DeWalt, or Makita products until the outstanding balance of $11,000 cleared. Dad called the bank about a short-term business loan and got denied. His credit score had dipped below 580 after the gallery fiasco. He left another voicemail, this one quieter, almost defeated. The lights stay on because of your spreadsheets. Come fix this. Mom scheduled a doctor's appointment for her back, texting me the confirmation screenshot as proof. The diagnosis, degenerative disc disease, manageable with physical therapy she couldn't afford without insurance copays I knew the store's plan covered. Amber posted an Instagram story from the basement, filtered lighting, paint-splattered overalls, caption reading back to basic sparkles. Comments from old high school friends asked if the store was hiring. I spent evenings with Carson reviewing my own finances. Emergency fund, intact. Corporate projects, on track. Mental health, improving daily. The silence from my end spoke louder than any argument. A month into the standoff, Aunt Veronica showed up unannounced. She flew in from Phoenix on a Southwest red-eye, rental car keys still in hand when she knocked on my apartment door mid-morning. Aunt Veronica, Mom's older sister by 6 years, carried a manila envelope thick with IRS letterhead. We settled at my kitchen table with coffee, and she slid the documents across the butcher block without preamble. The notice detailed a $58,000 tax deficiency from the gallery venture 3 years prior. Dad had inflated deductions for framing materials, venue rentals, and marketing expenses, claiming business losses that never materialized into actual revenue. I walked her down to the street, that manila envelope tucked under my arm like evidence I might need someday. The next morning, I changed my phone plan to a new number, forwarding only verified work contacts through a screening service. Dad's final text arrived before the switch completed, a photo of the empty invoice drawer with the caption, "This is on you." I blocked the thread and powered off the old SIM card. Peace settled in layers. First came the quiet, no notifications, no guilt-laden voicemails. Then came the mental space to focus on upcoming project deadlines without that constant background anxiety. Finally came something I hadn't felt in years, genuine excitement about my own future. 6 months passed in a blur of professional progress and personal growth. I closed on a 2-bedroom condo in the Pearl District, exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, and a private terrace overlooking the city lights. The purchase price hit $485,000, well within my new budget after a major promotion. My firm secured the full interior design contract for the Sentinel, a luxury mixed-use tower in downtown Seattle, 40 residential floors demanding custom millwork, locally sourced materials, and LEED Platinum certification. The scope pushed my annual salary from $98,000 to $142,000, with performance bonuses tied to sustainability milestones. Carson helped unload the final moving box into my new place, then dropped to one knee on the bare hardwood floor, sliding a ring he designed himself onto my finger, white gold with a single Oregon sunstone. I said yes before he finished asking. Meanwhile, across town, my parents' world contracted to match their choices. Dad and Mom liquidated the hardware store to a regional franchise out of Eugene. The buyer assumed the inventory at 55 cents on the dollar, yielding just enough to clear the IRS lien and avoid wage garnishment. After fees and outstanding debts, they walked away with $3,800 in pocket change. They relocated to a 1-bedroom apartment near the Lloyd Center, 750 square feet, thin walls, but rent capped at $1,350 monthly. Dad, now 63, accepted a night shift position with FedEx Ground, scanning and loading packages from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. at $19.50 an hour. Health insurance kicked in after 90 days, something the store had never properly offered. The physical work was brutal on his knees, but the steady paycheck was something he'd never managed to create on his own. Mom claimed a vendor permit at Saturday Market every weekend. She set up a folding easel against the white tent walls, displaying 8 by 10 watercolors of Portland bridges and mountain landscapes. Tourist traffic brought $70 to $150 on strong weekends, enough for groceries and occasional prescription copays. She texted a photo of her first $60 sale once, a sunset over Mount Hood, but the message bounced back as undeliverable. Amber clocked in at Michael's on 82nd Avenue, starting as a cashier at $14.50 an hour. After 2 months of perfect attendance, the framing department manager moved her to custom orders, measuring mats, cutting glass, assembling shadow boxes for sports jerseys and military medals. The employee discount shaved 20% off supplies, letting her experiment with personal projects on her own dime for the first time in her life. After closing shifts, she enrolled in one evening class at Portland Community College, Introduction to Small Business Management, paying tuition from her own paychecks. Her Instagram evolved from curated perfection to raw behind-the-scenes content, cutting glass, mixing custom paint colors, narrating her mistakes. Followers climbed past 4,500, drawn to the unfiltered reality of actual work. I severed every remaining connection, deleted the family Dropbox, removed myself from the store's vendor portal, changed my mailing address at the post office. The final communication traveled via certified mail, return receipt requested. I typed a single page on my firm's letterhead. Love isn't one-way labor. I wish you growth, but from a distance. This separation is permanent. The green card came back signed by Mom 3 days later. I filed it in a folder labeled Closed Chapters, and never looked again. Carson and I hosted an engagement party on my new terrace, string lights, craft beer, Vietnamese spring rolls. Colleagues from the architecture firm toasted with local wine. My portfolio now included commercial projects in Seattle, San Francisco, and a boutique hotel redesign in Bend. Travel plans replaced emergency bank transfers, Japan in the spring, Portugal next winter. The mental bandwidth once consumed by supplier invoices and family crises now fueled mood boards, material samples, and the creative work I'd always dreamed of doing. Some doors close to open entire worlds. I didn't abandon them. I stopped paying the price for their mistakes. Dad learns punctuality under fluorescent warehouse lights. Mom discovers market value in her own brushstrokes. Amber builds competence one precise cut at a time. Consequences teach what indulgence never could. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this story. If it resonated with you, drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done at that Thanksgiving table? Your perspective matters.